first started sewing, the only thread that you could find was Coates and Clark. It came on a wooden spool, and you had your choice of polyester or cotton. Today, that's all changed. There are numerous thread manufacturers, a wide variety of colors, and a variety of materials, everything from rayon to cotton to polyester to metallics, you name it, there's a thread for it. But today I'd like to talk to you about some of the different threads, particularly the numbering system, so that you will understand the difference in thread. The first thread that I'm holding here is by Sulky. It's a 12 weight, and it's a very thick thread. This is wonderful for top stitching, for decorative work where you want it to be seen, because it is so thick. This is the thickest thread that you can put through a needle. The next thread is a number 50, and this is your standard cotton thread that most of us sew with and quilt with. As you can see, it's much thinner than the number 12. And now I want to show you a 50 weight cotton. These are all cotton threads, and it is just a touch thinner, or rather this is a 60 weight. This is a touch thinner than our 50 even, and that's why a lot of quilters like to use it for quilting, because it doesn't take up as much space in the seam and keeps your quilting more accurate for that 1/4 inch seam that we all aspire to. Now, as I said, a 12 is the thickest thread, so the lower the number, the thicker the thread. The higher the number, the thinner. However, this is also this is a 50 weight thread, but it's actually thinner than our 60 weight. And the reason for that is it's a polyester where the others were cottons. So when you're comparing thread weight, you really want to try and compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. But just be aware that within a class, again, the lower the number, the thicker the thread. This particular thread is wonderful. It's called the Bottom Line by Superior Threads. It's supposed to be a bobbin thread, and I use it quite a bit in my professional long arm quilting business for the bobbin in the machine, because it's very fine and it doesn't seep through to the top when I'm quilting. It is, let me double check, this one is a 60 weight thread, so it is thinner, as you can see from our 40 weight thread. I really like this particular thread though for any time I'm doing applique work and I don't want the threads to show very much. It's wonderful for a buttonhole stitch. It's also wonderful for hemming garments and for doing your bindings. If you really have something where you don't want the thread, or rather the stitches, to show, I highly recommend a 100 weight silk. This stuff is extremely strong, even though it's a very thin thread. You can see that. And it is extremely fine, and your stitches will be absolutely gorgeous. It also doesn't tend to knot and twist as much as some of the other threads do. So one more time, the lower the number, the thicker the thread, the higher the number, the finer the thread. And I will tell you that if you go to buy silk thread, because it is so fine and because it is made from silk, you will be paying a higher dollar amount, but it's worth every penny. And perhaps that's the way to help you remember. The higher dollar amount means that the number on the thread is going to be higher, and therefore it is a finer thread.